What is up, RotoGrinders? Happy Tuesday. Dean here. Dean 78904 if you want to get all technical. Right now, it's the start of 2 hours, 2+ hours, non-stop MLB DFS conversation, taking y'all the way up the first picks tonight. Crunch time coming in around 6:15, 6:20 or so on the East Coast. Got Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, two-time Millionaire winner. We have TJ Zwarych. You guys know TJ, not aware. One of the greatest DFS players in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. And Kevin Roth. Kevin Roth coming back tonight. Basically no weather out there. Last I saw is just it's green in Atlanta, winds left to right. But essentially weather is a non-factor this evening. We have a 10-gamer, kind of sort of somewhat a big boy slate. We don't really get like 14 or 15 gamers these days with a lot of 640 starts, but I buried the lead. It's a Tuesday, which means it's Tournament Tuesday. We'll get to that in a second. But it is the return of the People's Show. The People's Show, Tasteful Todd's Tim Buell, single entry, 3-entry max specialist, as well as Bobby Gomes, another. He also has a jacket that says Millionaire winner on it. I just assume you have one, like one of those SNL, like 4-timers club, 5-timers club, 5-timers club. Is there a jacket, Bobby? Did they fit you for a jacket like the Masters when you won $1 million? There's no jacket, right? I'm just making this up.
There's no jacket, Dean. No jacket.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I feel like you should have a jacket.
Do you get a belt, like a big belt?
Championship belt?
I have like a check. I have like one of the checks. They don't give the checks out anymore.
Okay.
You got a novelty check, like in your closet or something, basically, or is it on the wall?
What's that Will Ferrell movie where they semi-pro? That check that the guy has, it's pretty easy. He's trying to cash it in. Yeah, that's.
But this will say this will tell a lot about your ego. Is it like in the closet, or is it like when you first walk in that? Is it like on the wall so everybody sees it?
It's in my kid's room.
You want him to know.
I want him to know who Daddy is. You know,
Daddy's a winner.
Pretty much it.
What's up, Bobby? I feel like it's been a while. How are things in your world? Everything good? Everything good for you on a Tuesday?
Everything's fantastic. Just went out to the gym, and now I'm talking baseball with you and Tim. So it should be a good day.
Shout out to the chat. Chat, kindly hit that like button to subscribe. Turn on those notifications. You always want to subscribe, but right now is the time to subscribe because you know you're going to be getting those notifications because lots of football shows going down. I know the Food for Thought podcast came out yesterday with Will and Justin. Maya, the Pick Six show is going to be on Wednesday. Bobby, your show with Kirkwood is going to be on Saturdays. Is that correct? Like Saturday at noon? Does that sound about right to you?
It sounds about right. Saturday at noon. They wanted it at 3, but noon's better for both me and Kirky, so that's the time we're rolling with it.
What's the name of the show so the people to know to get excited about it?
We've never had really maybe there is a name. I'm not really sure. Tournament takes. I think
so. It's a tournament take show.
Tournament takes podcast.
You haven't had a niche name like the People's Show, you know.
Don Easy in chat's telling you the name of your own show. It's Tournament Takes. That is confirmed. I don't know if you guys are still workshopping it or you're rebooting it under a different name this year.
No, I thought you were insinuating like there was a nickname like we have for this show. There's not.
No.
We're a professional show, Dean.
What would it be? It would be the two of you guys. I'm sure you can come up with something pretty fun.
Who's going to kill? Which host is going to kill the other host first pre-show? That's what it would be.
We got to start at least for premium members, if nothing else. We got to start get the audio rolling pre-show because that's probably where the action is. You guys are Kirkwood's tilting something always pre-show, like the Mets.
If Noto had a great like seat to the real what happens behind the scenes of Tournament Takes last year. Probably why he quit, to be perfectly honest.
Derek is saying low T Tournament Takes is what he's suggesting there. As you can use that, I suppose. The three of us will get together early Sunday morning going forward. Get used to this mug. 9:30. I want to say I'm fairly certain it's 9:30 in the morning. The People's Show will take to the airs. That will be 3.5 hours by my math. I'm with the UCF. Forgive me if that math is wrong, but with 3.5 hours of NFL coverage, DFS coverage, you guys aren't aware if you haven't found out. you didn't get the notification, the NFL does officially start this week. Super excited about talking some football. And Tim, you'll be joining that show as well. Oh, and did you finish all your best balls today? Or no, not just yet. You're almost there, right?
I've got 7 more to do.
I've got 6.
Are you tired of it?
Beating Tim again.
You guys tired of it? Like, you ready to tap out?
I think the last 10 teams that I made are like by far my worst teams. I accidentally made a team with 4 quarterbacks because I just like spaced out and I was like, oh, that's not good. Yeah, my last 10 teams or so have been really bad. So,
and that's the one that's going to win. That's just how that goes.
Yeah, I know. I really hope that one ships the $1.5 million on DK.
Yeah, I officially I got my last team last night. I tried to get one more today, and they said, you've hit the maximum entries. So I'm like, all right. So yeah, and almost there on drafters. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there on drafters, and the underdog one already filled. Their big, the biggest contest they have. I didn't get up like 100 or so in that. So yeah, man, we're going full force in best ball this year. Bobby, you said you have 6 or 7 left, and you're miserable drafting at this point.
6, one more than Tim. Yeah, I can't stand it. I'm not. It doesn't amuse me anymore. Like, there's no fun to it. It's just like you're clicking buttons at this point. I'm just trying to get it finished.
Yeah, and there's no more like information morsels at this point either. It's just there's no more adjusting. Everything kind of is what it is. I guess Chase going to sign? Is he going to play week 1? Is kind of a conversation right now. I've kind of bumped him back to like 10 or so. But all right, this is a baseball show. We're talking baseball the next 2 hours. Tournament Tuesday, I referenced it before. If you want to get yourself a week free of RG Premium, not just baseball, by the way, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, PGA, MMA, all the sports, with the exception of NASCAR. Very, very easy to do. Jump into the live stream chat channel. There is a tournament link there. There are no gimmicks. It's not low ball. Straight up win the contest. You get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Spots are limited, so you do want to go ahead and claim just in case it does. I say sell out. It's a free contest. Doesn't cost anything. DraftKings contest, just throw whatever your contest is, your main contest, throw it in there as well. Does not hurt anything. Live stream chat channel in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Also, if you're rocking the avatar, the RG avatar, takes like a minute or so, not even a minute to download that. You get 2 weeks free of RG Premium. So there you go. Have at it. All right, Tim. 10 gamer tonight. I want the overview. We have an awesome pitcher and an awesome spot. I don't know if I've seen a strikeout number higher this year on Chris Sale. I think he's projected. I was like over 8.5, was like minus 190 or something goofy. And I'm like, what am I doing here? There's no way. I know it's the Rockies, and I know they strike out a ridiculous amount and Sale is spectacular, but I can't bet that. But like this projected Ks today, median Ks, I think it's somewhere around 9 or so, which you don't see very often as a median projection. He leads the conversation as far as pitchers. We have Skeens we'll get to, and we have Castillo, and then kind of a step down from there. I think the stacks are pretty clear, but like nothing amazing. We'll have that conversation as well. I'm curious, Tim, give me the screenshot, give me the overview. How you seeing tonight's 10 gamer?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like on the surface, this slate is pretty simple to break down. I would pretty much lock button Chris Sale in all formats, and then probably just get a combination of some of these other pitchers, like you talked about. Luis Castillo, I like quite a bit. Paul Skeens is definitely like the most interesting conversation on the slate because he would be an absolute smash play, but they're starting to bring down his pitch count. So I don't know quite what to do with that. He still has a K prop of 6.5 with juice on the over I think like 135 or 140. So he still has potential. I'm just a little bit nervous that the bat has a projected for like 85 pitches that he only gets to like 75 or 80. He might not even get to that 85 mark. So that's a real decision point that people are going to have to decide tonight in their tournament teams. He is not viable for cash games. I would not pitch Paul Skeens in cash games. If we were going to get the full load of pitches, I would certainly pitch him in cash games, but we're not. So he is not on the cash game radar for me. It's definitely going to be Sale and Castillo as your cash game pairing. And then I think like Aaron Savali is a kind of an interesting decision point tonight because there are some really big bats in amazing spots. And Savali is 6.3K. Again, not a cash game guy, but certainly should be in your pool. I would even play him in 3 max. I might even play him in single entry. I'm not sure. But I mean, there are some really, really outstanding stacks tonight in really great spots. And they're very, very expensive stacks. So you're going to need to save money somewhere. And Aaron Savali might just be that guy. I see that Ryan Nelson has the full rainbow in lineup HQ.
Weird guy to have the full rainbow, right?
What's that?
It's kind of a weird guy to have the full rainbow.
I was surprised to see that, to be honest with you. I would just go down to Savali. I would just save the 900. Then to go to Nelson. Not that Nelson's bad. I'm fine with him, but I would just go down lower to Savali and not play Nelson. But that's just, a decision that we're gonna have to make also. But really, there's obviously Sale, but then there's quite a few viable pitchers tonight. I've already mentioned 3 or 4 names. Carlos Rodon and Tanner Bybee are certainly viable for tournaments. They're going to be under 20% owned. They're good pivots off of Castillo or Skeens. So I like both of them. So, I mean, I think this pitching slate is like kind of sneaky good because there are ways to get different with some upside pitchers.
Officially, we have, let's see, in lineup HQ, we're projecting 89 pitches for Paul Skeens as a median projection. That's still, to me, in my opinion, is probably a tick too high. But like last 4 starts ago, 91, 93. Then they start to push back, 87, 6 innings. Last start, 82 pitches, 5 innings. And he was pitching well. It wasn't
right.
Like he was pitching bad. And they could have gave him another inning. That's the game that went absolutely bonkers, like near the back end. It ended at 10-14, but I think that
it really wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me, Dean, if he didn't even get to 80.
What's the point, right? Why would they push him? It's not the full crochet thing, I don't think, but there's really no incentive, and their season's essentially over. Mathematically, they're probably still alive. I haven't pulled up their, 5.
But if he's through 5 innings, if he's through 5 innings at 75 pitches, he probably doesn't come back out. Right.
But it's Paul Skeens, and the weather is good for throwing baseballs, and he can strike out 10 in 5 innings.
Yes.
With 75 pitches. So,
yes.
And also extreme pitchers umpire as well. So it's interesting. I'm not really sure how many people are going to be like crossing him off. You're talking about ownership for him. I feel like some people are just going to be afraid that you're paying full freight for not the full allotment of pitches. 22% is what we currently have it as far as ownership. So he's well behind Sale at 37, behind Castillo at 38. I think he's third. Just want to confirm. Yeah, he's third as far as the pitchers, and I think that's correct. But again, he certainly has the ability to be efficient enough to strike out 10 in 75, 85 pitches in 5 innings. Jump in here, Bobby. Your thoughts? Anything overview wise as far as the slate? We didn't really talk much hitting there, but I think Atlanta, the Dodgers, the Yankees, Milwaukee, one of the better hitting teams on the board. And Philly, myself, Dave Potts, Kirk Dees, we did our top 5 stacks in the expert rankings today, and all 3 of us had the same 5 teams. There's no disparity. It's those 5 teams, and I'm not saying you have to play them, but it's just kind of interesting that nobody went off the board as far as Atlanta, the Dodgers, the Yankees, Milwaukee, and Philly. But not like any of these teams have like a 6 total or anything. Bobby, what do you got? Overview, and feel free to touch on the pitchers. We have already discussed Skeens. Are you scared? Are you scared of Skeens? And are we just locking Sale?
I'm going to embrace the volatility of Skeens. I just not like volatility, but the variance. Like I want him to, I think I'm going to be over the field. Sale, obviously, I think you could lock button, and then it's probably Luis Castillo, combination of Rin Nelson. You talked about Savale. But for me, I like the idea of pivoting off Savale when everyone's kind of on Rin Nelson. I know Rin Nelson's a good play, but for me, I can see taking the savings on Savale. Like, I don't really think there's much of a difference in projection for me. So from the low end pitchers, I think that's an interesting pivot. And yeah, getting a little bit over on Skeens when I think a lot of people are going to go under. We have the EP, like you said, he could have 10 strikeouts in 5 innings. He's $1,000 cheaper than Chris Sale. I think just playing him in larger field stuff, a little bit over the field, makes a good bit of sense.
Chris Sale, biggest K rate on the slate. It's Sale and Skeens that are like neck and neck, right? Sale 32.4%, Skeens 32.3%. So essentially the same. The difference is Sale's got the longer leash, and I'm pulling up this Colorado lineup as far as striking out versus lefties. This lineup, I don't know if you guys looked at this or not. The projected lineup this season has struck out versus the average lefty, whatever lefty you're rolling out there, 30% of the time. 30% of the time. Tovar 31%, Rogers 18, Doyle 20, Toglia 27, Stallings 24, Beck 29, Goodman 30, Romo 33, and Shunk 54% of the time. That's just 22 at bats, but you know, I don't like Shunk's chances. It's probably not going to be great. Just saw a note that Corey Seager not playing tonight. I think it's left on left, maybe one reason, but apparently they are load managing Seager as well, which you don't really hear that term so much in baseball. But Texas essentially out of it, although they're bringing Jacob deGrom back soon. Scherzer might be done for the year too. He's supposedly pain-free, but doesn't really matter because Texas is basically donezo. So I guess maybe they'll sit Seager left on left going forward. We'll see. But just that's one player. Also, John Gray out for the season for Texas as well. But Luis Castillo, did we talk about Castillo? We kind of mentioned him in passing. Do we have an official take on Luis Castillo, Bobby?
He's at Oakland. I mean, it could cap his strikeouts, just that ballpark. I still think it's a really good matchup for Castillo. If I had to rank him, he'd probably be like my cash game pitcher. I do think that in tournaments, what do we have for ownership versus? Yeah, we
got him 38%. We have him higher than everybody, which is I think Sale's gonna be the most popular pitcher personally. I think people are just gonna make that happen. But he's right there.
I think I'm gonna try to get more Skeens than Castillo.
Tim?
I mean, Castillo is I think the second best overall pitcher on the slate. Definitely your SB2 in cash. So yeah, definitely a strong play. I do agree that I think Sale will be higher owned than Castillo.
Yeah, I mean we got a 38%, 37%, so essentially the same. Rodon 15, Bybee 15, Nelson 13. The reason why I said Nelson was just kind of a weird sort of player that everybody is on. I know he's cheap enough and he kind of makes stuff work, and he's a good ballpark. That's one of the reasons why. By the way, Christian Walker expected back tonight for Arizona. No lineup just yet. At some point, they say Ketel Marte on this road trip will be available too. I assume not tonight, but just kind of maybe. I guess that's possible, but I don't think he's coming back tonight just yet. His numbers are not great. Like he's a 4 ERA, 4.22, 4.14 Sierra. The Ks are less than 20%, 19.6%. He's a strike thrower, 5.2% as far as walks. Kind of a ground ball guy. And if BABIP's on his side, he can go 6-ish, 7-ish in San Fran. We're not afraid of that lineup. So I guess he's sort of like, I don't want to use the word safe, but kind of safe-ish. But is he distinctly better, Tim? You kind of touched on this. Is he distinctly better than Brady Singer? Like you mentioned Savale, who I think is playable, just basically the same, right? He's not very good either. A little bit more Ks, a little bit more walks, a little bit more fly balls. I have a better chance at a win, though. I think Milwaukee grabs the W tonight. But, yeah, like, do you see anything really separating as far as that next year? Rodon's kind of expensive, but no Seager in that Texas lineup. You can pile up some Ks, I guess, but, he's next in line as far as strikeouts, 25.9%. Bybee right in front of him, 26.6%. But I don't really know what to do with the SB2 is what I'm kind of getting. I don't have a lot of conviction here. Do you have conviction as far as who you're, of course, ideally, if you have all the money, Sale, Skeens, Castillo, you get 2 of those 3 and you move on. But you kind of alluded to it, Tim. There's some hitters you want to pay up for, and we do live in the world of a salary cap. So if we're spending down, do you have conviction at SB2, or it's just like, I'll play Aaron Savali because he gets me a couple of bats I want, and I think he's going to be okay?
If I was making 20 teams or so, I'd be locking in Chris Sale and spreading out at SB2. I would be getting to guys like Castillo, Savali, maybe a little bit of Nelson. I mean, Nelson's been in such good recent short-term form, so that's why people are really liking him. So I think that's the reason. But I mean, as you can see, like his projection is not that great. So it's not really like a smash spot. Like I almost like David Peterson for $800 more over Nelson, you know? So it's like all these SP2s, I think you can get to just spread it at SP2 because I don't have a ton of conviction other than I think I'd be underweight Paul Skeens and try to get overweight Aaron Savali. Doesn't look like Savali's going to get any ownership at all. So
I disagree with that. I think he's going to get some.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but who are you taking it from?
You know what? I think Luis Castillo's is a little high. I don't think he's going to get the ownership we're rejecting. This is not my job. I just
right.
I play the game, and I just think Castillo's going to come down a little bit. I don't think he's going to be more popular than Sale, like for the start, and we have him a little bit a tick higher. Maybe Bybee doesn't get 15. I'm trying to see where else it would go. Bueller 6%, Crawford 6%, Ginn at 5%, Harrison at 4%. Oh, you mentioned Peterson. Great ballpark to pitch in, even better today. 104 previous games in New York. Kind of a crosswind coming in from right field, 4 miles per hour. 71 is the temp. 44 is the due. In those 104 games, Tim, homers have taken a hit at 28%. Runs have taken a hit at 13%. So, yeah, I think Peterson's kind of interesting. And we know this Boston lineup, there's some power, sure, but they will big downgrade as far as ballpark. And they'll strike out. They'll strike out a lot versus lefties. Ref Snyder, 26%. Duran, 24%. No power this year versus lefties either. All his power is coming against righties. O'Neill, a lot of power, but also a lot of Ks. Same deal with Devers, 33 and 31% as far as the Ks. So I think Peterson's in play. Like you kind of mentioned him. He might, and if is he not grabbing much ownership at all, Peterson? Where is he at as far as?
Not really. He's at 3%.
I mean, maybe it's the price tag, 8K. It's just like he feels like he should be in the 7s to me. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I don't. If I have the money, I mean, I prefer him to Savali. Of course, it's a big difference in asking price.
I really like Peterson for large field tournaments. I put him in the expert survey today as a pitcher I'd be overweight on. I think he makes a good bit of sense as a pivot off of Rin Nelson, Savali, etc. So for all the reasons that you guys just gave,
it's not hard to get over. Like get 10% and you're over. If that's that's all you want. Yeah, I don't think he's like bonkers for a 3-entry max or a single entry. It's like a separator if you're playing some chalk lineups. As far as your offense.
I don't think it's bonkers to play Peterson, Savali, Rodon. Like all these guys who are going to be relatively low owned. I don't think it's bonkers to play any of those guys at pretty low ownership.
Let's see. Jar Dog's asking about Bassett, the Hound, 8,400 or Castillo for 10K. Tim, I mean, I'm afraid of Bassett versus Schwarber and Harper. Like that could be troublesome.
That's a FanDuel question, and so I would still just stick with Castillo at 10K. Bassett makes me a little bit nervous in this matchup. I'm assuming I haven't seen the Phillies lineup. Let me just double check that, but I'm assuming, it's pretty normal,
pretty standard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't really like Bassett tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's kind of in the group where he's fine, right? But like I'm not going out of my way for it. Pretty dramatic splits in Schwarber and Harper, especially Schwarber. Stott's pretty solid as well, left on right.
I think on FanDuel, David Peterson's only $100 more than Bassett, and I like Peterson more. So if you don't want to go Castillo and you want to go somebody like in the mid range, go David Peterson.
Don't mind that at all. Let's see. We just got the Angels lineup. Ward, Neto, Chanel, Rendon. Rendon still batting cleanup. Hilarious. Modiak, Ohapi, Drury, Adele, and the rookie Kvedas. All right. More lineups are coming on through. I've seen a couple people in chat throw out Bueller. I mean, he's had one good game this year. The rest have been trash, essentially. I know the Angels are trash, but, I'm not playing Bueller, and that's that. Should I reconsider this, Tim? Am I wrong to just cross him off the list? Because it's Anaheim, and you should just pick an Anaheim, and that's that.
He would not make my 20 max pool if I was making 20, but I think I'd have I'd probably get 5% in a 150 setting. He just makes me incredibly nervous. So, I mean, there's a lot of options that I prefer a lot more than Bueller.
Jason's asking, can you guys scroll down so we can see the projected ownership for pitchers? It's right there. It's in the middle. Yeah, you can see Castillo. It's actually in the order, I believe, of projected ownership.
Yeah. It is.
It's right there for you.
You can always sub to the site too.
You could sub to the site. You can get yourself. You want to commit to 6 months? It's a big commitment, but you commit to 6 months. You do something for us, we'll do something for you. Get you $250 off the top, as opposed to going month by month. 1 month, you get $40 off. The links are for this are in the description on the YouTube. And 3 days. You want to just try out 3 days again, $19 and change. Or like I said before, just join the tournament and get yourself a week free of RG Premium. You're going to get all the football stuff. Is there MMA this weekend? I don't know if there is. You get that. PGA, if there's PGA, I assume there is. You get that. You get everything. You get the projections, you get the articles, you get Dave's article, you get the tags, lineup HQ, the optimizer, all the goods. Join the contest in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. All right. Producer Steve is now punishing. He did not say please. So now you just got to look at the three of us. So that is a punishment for sure. I imagine, I don't know how long this timeout will be, but at some point we'll get the projection screen back up momentarily. Did you have a thought on Bueller, Bobby? I can't do it. I just can't play. He's terrible, and that's that. He might weasel his way against the Angels, and good for him, but I'm not playing him.
Yeah, I'm not playing him. I think I'd actually prefer Bassett to Bueller for 400 more, even though I just don't want to play Bassett at all either. For me, it's just like really in that from that Savali range to really David Peterson. It's like Savali, David Peterson, Rin Nelson, I guess. Or should we consider JT Ginn-all at 5'8"? Like he's pitching versus Seattle. We know Seattle can strike out a good bit.
Yeah, Ted Ginn's brother. Ground balls is like his skill. He's not a big strikeout guy. It's a big ballpark, sure. And like you said, facing Seattle. But I don't know how much we need it, but I guess he only threw 67 pitches in his first start. So I don't know how much they're going to push him. I'd have to run like at least 20 lineups to consider it, but I don't think I'm getting there. It's not that much more for guys like Savali. Tim, do you have a thought as far as Ginn?
I just don't think he's necessary, to be honest with you. So I'm not on board with that. What about? Do you have any thoughts on Brady Singer, Bobby?
Yeah, for me, I just really am not getting to Singer versus Cleveland. Like I just don't like attacking Cleveland's lineup. I think that would be the best analysis I could give. Like I have no Singer currently.
Anybody versus Cleveland. The first 5 hitters for Cleveland tonight, their strikeouts versus lefties this season, right? Kwan, 7.8%. Jimenez, 14.8%. J-Ram, 13%. Naylor, 15%. Brennan, 12%. Like, where is the upside? I guess Singer's a guy that can go deep in the game, right? And the balls are dying on the warning track, that kind of thing. But he's just not going to compile like 7 or 8 strikeouts. Bobby on the other side is kind of interesting. He's just a little bit pricey. Without Vinny Pasquantino, the Sasquatch, the Pasquatch, Dunzo for the year, this KC lineup just looks so much weaker to me. Just kind of a big hole in that lineup there. And Bobby, the K's are pretty good in the year, 26.4%. Not a big dramatic split, lefties versus righties. But again, he's just kind of pricey. Does anybody have a thought as far as Bobby? I thought somebody was going to ask about Detmers because he's really cheap, but who's picking on the Dodgers? it was just interesting to see his minor league stuff because his last 3 minor league starts, he's been bad in the minors, but his last 3 starts, no less than 9 strikeouts. Like it was like 9, 10, 10 or something like that. But he wasn't facing. I'm pretty sure
he wasn't facing the Dodgers while he was there, was he?
Pretty sure he was not facing the Dodgers. He was facing the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp or something like that. And I'm pretty sure there's no there's no comp of Shohei and Betts on the Jumbo Shrimp. I'm fairly certain. I'm not in like a fantasy league though with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. But I'm
surprised you're in every other fantasy league. I heard you did Kirkwood's high stake stuff for his poker buddies.
Dude, man, I crushed it. I think I crushed it. We'll see. I'm victory lapping before the season even starts. But my brother hit me up. He's like, I got one for you tonight and for tomorrow. I'm going to open up a second business, I think. I'm seasonal. But yeah, I keep drafting for other people. But we're excited for the season to start for sure. Let's see. Anything else that's worth talking about as far as pitchers? We got a lot of offenses to talk about. I'm trying to see if there's anything else worthwhile. Any new lineups pop up on the old Twitter? I think we got one. The A's did come in. Butler, Rooker, Blade, Langoliers. He had the double dong yesterday, the walk-off double dong. Brown, Geloff, Gray, Schulman, and Wilson. But we're not talking enough about the fact there's a dude named Brewer Hicklam on the Brewers. Why are we not talking about this? This should be the entire 20-minute conversation to open the show. Again, the guy's name is Brewer, and he plays for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Next time we do nicknames in your little thing there that you do for stacks, you can add Brewer Hicklam.
I don't think it's a nickname though. I think it's his real name. His name is actually Brewer. I don't think his official nickname is his official name is Brewer Hicklam. He's 2K on DK, by the way. He could actually be usable. His minor league stats. I was looking at him today. 42 stolen bases and 21 homers. Now, not a prospect. He's 28, 29 years old. So his prospect status is done. So he's playing against dudes that are 7 years younger than him on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. But, he's got counting stats, a bunch of stolen bases and some power, and he's 2K. I know we're not talking hitters, and it just came to my attention, Brewer Hicklam plays for the Brewers? How do they know? Anyways, is there anything else in chat that's worth mentioning as far as pitchers? I don't think so. You want to give a summary, Tim, when it comes to arms? We'll talk about bats. We'll pivot.
Yeah, sure. So Sale and Castillo are your cash game pitchers. That's pretty easy. My favorite pivot would be going all the way down to Savali. Then it would be probably Bybee next, and then Nelson. Oh, no, excuse me. I'd go Peterson third, then Nelson, and then Rodon. But it's definitely Castillo and Sale for cash. Savali's my favorite pivot. Next would be Peterson, and then Nelson.
Red Scowl saying, do not jinx yourself. Come on now. We know jinxes do not exist. We learned that when we said somebody was throwing a no-hitter, and then 3 seconds later, the no-hitter no longer existed. Michael
you're speaking really fast saying jinxes don't exist because we all know who the biggest mush is in this conversation.
Well, wait a second. You're saying jinxes and mushes are the same thing? I thought those are different. Maybe they're in the same family, but I feel like they're different things.
Family. You get it all. You're doing it all ways. You're mushing, you're jinxing, you're doing all the stuff.
Dude, any angle that can work, by all means, go for it. But you only notice it when it happens. When it doesn't happen, what's the point in bringing the conversation up? It's like coincidences. Alvin says, thought that was the name of the mascot. No, that's Bernie Brewer you're thinking of. Bernie Brewer is the dude that slides down the slide. Bobby, you got anything else to add as far as pitchers? Anything you want to hammer home that we've not seen Tim do that kind of layout for the people?
Play Chris Sale and I think Paul Skeens. I know people were worried about the pitch count for Skeens, but he has the EP, and I'm not worried. It's Paul Skeens.
I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried, but you shouldn't be, right? I'm a little bit though. I can definitely see him just going 5 innings. By the way, isn't the weather really good? I meant to check that as well. It's still really good pitching weather, right?
It's really good pitching weather in Chicago and in Citi Field.
Yeah, it's 177 games. We didn't talk about the other pitcher because I don't care. What weather does it have to be for you to say, all right, screw it, I'm going to roster some Kyle Hendricks? The wind's got to be blowing in like, what, 30, 40 miles per hour at least? 26% hit in homers in 177 game sample, big sample. 6 mile per hour winds coming in from right field. 71 is the temp at Wrigley. 49 is the dew. So, yeah, it just feels – is it still 6.5 the total in that game? I think it was earlier today. Maybe it's jumped up. Maybe it's 7 because Hendricks is also pitching. So it's hard for Kyle Hendricks in the year 2024 to be in a game that has a 6.5 or a 7 total because he just does not strike anybody out. Okay. Anything else? Let's see. Is he saying Hendricks no-hitter incoming? Well, you know what? He might have a no-hitter. 2 strikeouts. Maybe 3 strikeouts. Maybe. I mean, it won't be that many strikeouts. Even still. Just a lot of BABIP. A lot of good BABIP on his side. I think that's it. That's it as far as pitchers. Let's go ahead and pivot to hitters. Tim, the theme this week, we kind of opened it up yesterday as far as the board, the category, players we're targeting. We kind of did like a best ball thing, best ball players, just players we like in general, players we want shares of. This is not a week 1 take, but yesterday I did quarterbacks. Today, you're doing running backs. So I should ask the chat, players that you you absolutely want for fantasy, best ball, however you want to phrase it. Running backs, who your favorite, who your least favorite, who are you avoiding completely, who are you well over the field on? I'll let that marinate with the chat as they're going to throw out some options. And Tim, by the way, I felt like I kind of strong-armed you into this because you were trying to do TJ style, where you rank 1 through 5. And 5 is the spot where you don't want that player, right? But I didn't want to, was I bullying you? I wasn't bullying you, right?
You did strong-arm me. It was pretty bad, but that's all right.
Look at how happy he gets. Look at how happy he gets.
It makes him so happy.
It's the little pleasures in life. I strong-armed Tim. I put him in his place. Yeah, so I guess we'll reveal that board in a second. So Jameis Winston's being thrown out there. We're talking running backs, to be fair. Derek is saying Zeke number 1. I assume he's joking. Or he's answering that question from 2017. I don't know how he's jumped to a different chat. The deal that he hopped in the DeLorean. The CMC workload conversations. Kenneth Walker III. He's not on the board, I don't think, but somebody I probably don't have enough of him, to be honest. But Tim, you want to give the people your thought process as far as your favorites, however you want to phrase it. The running backs you have a ton of, as opposed to the ones you don't have so much.
Yeah, so I definitely have a ton of Devon Achane. Definitely a high, very volatile player. Huge spike weeks, perfect for best ball. So I thought getting to a lot of him made sense. Bijan Robinson, I'm going to fall into the coach speak and see if he gets the CMC role. And then Pollard is just like a mid play, mid-range, right around pick 90. Not amazing, but not horrible. And then Barkley and Derrick Henry are my 2 really, really big fades. I don't think I have any Derrick Henry at all.
At a 150, you didn't accidentally click his name one time. That's amazing.
I'll have to double check. I can double check, but I don't think I have any Derrick Henry, and I think I only have like maybe 3 Barkley teams.
I went through mine and I had like 2 or 3% of both those guys. So we're in line as far as Barkley and Henry. I do not have a lot of those. I have a lot of Pollard. I just believe, they're going to pass the ball in Tennessee more, and he's kind of a pass-catching running back. And if I don't have Pollard, I got the other guy. I'm losing his name for some reason in my head.
Spears.
Yeah, Tyjae Spears. Eric's no Swift. Like Bijan plenty. I think, Bobby, you were saying that you like Breece Hall as your number 1 running back. You have Hall ahead of Bijan?
I have both of them a good bit. I think I have 35% Breece Hall currently.
When did you start picking him? Like 3rd, 4th overall? Because it's hard to get a first-round player at 35% unless you're picking them really early.
I only picked like 3 first-round players.
What? So you don't have any Amon-Ra, St. Brown, or is that like okay? So you have 3? You have Hall, you have Bijan, and CMC.
Bijan. No, I have 4: Breece, Bijan, AJ Brown, and Garrett Wilson.
Interesting. Wow, that's. I mean, I like the.
I just took Stan's, Dean.
Yeah.
So
No,
I have 1 Henry, Dean, 1 Henry, and 4 Barkley.
I have like the reverse: 1 Barkley and 4 Henry. I
don't know anybody's drafting either one of those guys. There's one guy out there that's like 95% Barkley.
Yeah. People are gonna love
terrible.
People are gonna love Henry though, just because that offense is so geared towards the run near the goal line.
What's weird is that Henry is more popular on DK than he is on FanDuel. When DK, is a full point PPR. It's just that's odd. I didn't understand that. I don't know if that's changed or corrected, but that's the way it was a couple months ago or so. But all right, and Bobby, you were first, right? I think you were like a Neil Armstrong or something. You were the first guy to be on Devon A-Chain, weren't you? Like I feel like last year. How do you feel now? Tim is taking your guy. You laid claim.
I have a good bit of A-Chain too. I keep drafting A-Chain when I get the 12-13. I'll take Gibbs A-Chain probably usually.
Devin says he's got 27% Chubb. Another guy I have basically none of. That could be a mistake, but I have very, very little Chubb. I know he lifted like 1,000 pounds and that was cool, but he's also like playing football is a little bit different. And he could just be an incredible like recoverer from injury, like Peterson.
I feel like a lot of the sharp best ball guys jammed Ford for whatever reason.
I like Ford.
Yeah, I don't know how much I like Ford, to be honest. I don't have a ton of Ford.
I didn't catch the phrasing. I did, but I'm sure I did something for the people, and producer Steve's going to clip it. Anything else here of notes here that Bobby? Is there somebody that Tim missed? Do you want to tell him where he's wrong?
I like the list for what he has. Yeah, I'd probably put Bijan ahead of A-Chain.
Yeah.
If you think Bijan's going to get the CMC role for Atlanta, then he would move ahead of A-Chain just because A-Chain's
I just love the spike weeks. I just love the spike weeks from A-Chain. So it's
interesting the reversal on this take from Tim, by the way, because he hated the fact that I had like 70% A-Chain last year.
I just thought that was too much. Bobby.
Well, I
didn't think the player was bad.
Yeah.
Well, with new information, I reserve the right to change my mind. And then Tim, I imagine, has the same thought process there.
Yeah, but I don't have 70% of them.
Yeah. I don't know if I want 70% of anybody like in the second round, the first round. But like I can appreciate the stand. I respect it.
I have 70% AD Mitchell.
Yeah, I respect that stand. It's not something I've done. But yeah. Anyways, we'll move on.
I don't like the idea of like playing it like you're playing 10, spread it out 10 to 20. I'm not maxing over 20% on any guy. Like I see everyone doing that, and it's like, do we play 150 that way? Like usually people are taking pretty strong stands on guys. That's what my thought process is.
Either it goes really well or it goes really poorly, but Ricky Bobby style, right? You're shooting for the top.
Yeah.
Very first game, Tim, you won the coin toss backstage. I'm not sure if you remember that. First game tonight is Philadelphia versus Toronto. Tyler Phillips taking on Chris Bassett. Bassett going to get some ownership. Phillips not so much. 8.5 total. Toronto's a slight favorite, -125. First game of the night, so that's why the slate locks at 7:07. You got to get in the Canadian national anthem and the American national anthem. I don't know why they can't just start everything 2 minutes earlier, but that's fine. 7:07 is their official start. That's what they do in Toronto. Where do we have the Blue Jays and the Phillies?
So with Bassett getting this much ownership, which I'm surprised by, that's going to move up the Phillies for me higher than I thought. So I would go Phillies in Bijan, but it's really just the lefties that I want to get to, like Schwarber, Harper, Stott, and Marsh. So I think the Phillies should be in Bijan Robinson tier. And then Toronto, their prices are low enough, and Phillips is not a very strong pitcher. So, and their prices are low enough. So I think their stack is really easy to get to. And they do have a 4.35 total, which on this slate is not that bad. So I would also put Toronto in the Bijan tier.
Did Bobby just freeze on us? Or is he in
I
deep
froze,
thought?
but can you hear me?
I can hear you. You froze at a perfect picture.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody needs to clip that. I mean, that's perfect.
We got to run a caption contest. Best caption week free of Archie Premium.
Hold on, I'm leaving and coming back.
Don't leave. Let's take the picture first. He's already gone. Unbelievable. All right. So we got Philadelphia and Toronto both in Bijan. Is that correct?
Yep.
Am I going to override that? Am I going to wait for Bobby to jump back in? I guess we'll just let that ride. We'll let that play out. That's fine. Bobby's not going to come back if he sees that waiting for him. Well done, producer Steve. All right, Boston and New York. We talk about this not being a great hitting environment, as is generally, and even worse with the weather. 7.5 total, 3.5 total for Boston individually with David Peterson taking the mound for New York, and plenty of Ks there with that Boston lineup. Where do we have the Mets and Boston? It feels like this is one of those deals, Tim, where if it was in Boston, we'd love both these offenses, especially the Mets, locked in for 9 on the road, big ballpark jump. But you tell me, I'm not really enthused by either offense today.
I am definitely not enthused by either offense. I have absolutely no interest in Boston. This is a horrible hitting ballpark, so I think Boston should go all the way down to the Derrick Henry tier. And then the Mets, for me, like Cutter Crawford's been awful. Again, though, this is such a bad hitting environment, and I don't know. I'm not really. Let me look at their prices. Like the Mets
really
are
expensive.
not. Yeah, like the Mets aren't cheap. So I'm going to put the Mets in the Barkley tier.
I like Lindor, Mr. Smile any given day, but I think I agree with you. I'm not going to argue with you. And there's no tie to be broken just yet because maybe we'll see if we get Bobby back soon enough. He's having a little bit of a hiccup, unfortunately, but hopefully we get him back. Crunch time is coming in about 30 minutes or so. You got TJ Zwarych, Kevin Roth, Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, at about 6:15, 6:20 or so, taking you all the way up the lock, all the way up the first pitch. Once again, reminder to join Tournament Tuesday. Does not cost you a thing. Throw your DK lineup in there, and maybe you win yourself a week free of RG Premium. You win 2 weeks if you do it while wearing the RG avatar. Download the avatar. It takes less than a minute or so. I think that's actually
Can I give out a tater real quick before it moves?
Do we have enough likes for it? Is it a good?
I don't know.
Yesterday you hit a tater for the people. Take that victory lap.
I did.
Is this something you're betting right now live?
Yeah, I'm going to.
You always dig into the odds, and you tend to give something out that you like the odds of.
Yeah, so Bryce Harper plus 400 on BetMGM. I think
good.
Is really solid. Yeah, I have to see what he is on DK because I don't have BetMGM, but I really like that bet. If you do have,
I bet you he's like 280 or so on my book. He's 375, not horrendous. 375 on the Rock.
It's not horrible.
No, I still feel like I'm missing out on some value, but I just we got a monopoly here in Florida, unfortunately. So just one book. You got to deal with.
Oh no, he's 400 on DK. So I'm gonna bet that right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
390 on FanDuel according to the chat. I guess if you go to the scores and odds page, it's usually pretty up to date, but this stuff is live odds are fluid, so sometimes it will change on us without it being it's obviously updated, but maybe it's not quick enough for the update. Okay, let's move on. The next game, I accidentally closed out my page. Here it is. The Rockies team total today is 2.44 runs. Oof. Because Chris Sale is awesome. He just doesn't give up more than 2 earned runs, I think. If you actually kind of do the old game log deal. When was the last time he gave up more than 2 earned runs? The last time he gave up more than 2, June 1st against Oakland. Oakland thrashed him. Yeah, it's been a while. Probably, I think he's the presumed.
Pesky Athletics.
That's when Eric won himself $1 million that day, probably in chat. Hopefully, you didn't take the day off. Again, because everybody was probably saying leverage, whatever. It's Chris Sale. Nobody ever gets to Chris Sale. But yeah, he's been dominant ever since. The other side, Atlanta, one of the more appealing teams, as far as I can tell. I'm not trying to lead the witness here, but Kyle Freeland He's got, if you care about home road splits, right? He's just been horrendous on the road, worse on the road than he has been at home, despite, he throws half his games in Colorado. 7+ ERA on the road. That's not good. Atlanta's got a 5 total, just above 5. Where do we have the Rockies and the Braves, Tim? And we do have Bobby here, so I'll have Bobby to retort in a second.
Yeah, Rockies are easily at the bottom tier, Derrick Henry tier. That's pretty easy one. 2.44 total. Lowest I've seen all year, I think. And then Atlanta, it's between Achane and Robinson for me. I do like Atlanta more than the Phillies and Toronto, so I am going to put Atlanta in the Achane tier.
Devin, Achane up top. That makes sense with the Braves. The Rockies in the gutter with Henry. Bobby, welcome back. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Where do we have Atlanta and Colorado? Any umbrage taken with Tim's placement here?
There's no umbrage. I really like the Braves. And the Rockies, it's Chris Sale. They really struggle with lefties. We went over all the K rates at the beginning of the show for their lineup versus lefties. So yeah, I'm fine with the Rockies and Derrick Henry.
Bobby, this one's for you. You lead it off. St. Louis in Milwaukee. Divisional rivals, 8 total. Savale taking on Steven Matz. A really, really hot Willy Adames. I think he's got homers in like 5 straight days or so. He keeps hitting 3-run homers, which is that's a skill, of course. That's definitely a skill. And I don't know if you guys have heard. Maybe you guys haven't heard this. There's a dude playing for the Milwaukee Brewers named Brewer Hicklin. He's 2K and TK. A lot of stolen bases, no minors, some power as well. Jackson Chourio looks pretty awesome too, by the way. Milwaukee, the future is bright. Where do we have the Brewers and the Cardinals, Bobby?
I'll put the Brewers where Steven has them in Bijan Robinson territory. You really like the Brewers today. And the Cardinals have some value bats. I think I have interest for the Cardinals. I'd put them in like Tony Pollard.
Yeah. Walker is going to play every day, it seems. Why not? St. Louis going nowhere. He's still just 22. Like, people want to call him a bust. Like, it's not we're not going to give him that bust tag just yet. And he wasn't horrendous last season. But yeah, he's playable, I suppose. I don't hate the Burleson either on the St. Louis side. Tim, agree, disagree? We got St. Louis in Derrick Henry. Is that correct, Bobby? Is it the bottom tier?
I have them in Pollard.
Okay. Yeah. I thought he was up a little bit higher. And you had Milwaukee and Bijan, correct?
Yep.
Tim?
I would go St. Louis in the Barkley tier. And then I'm just worried. I agree with Bobby about the Brewers being in Bijan. I'm just worried the Brewers get steamed in ownership for some really, really cheap pieces. And if they're going to be really chalky, I don't really want to play them. So I'm going to put them in Pollard for me.
By the way, producer Steve put on the screen St. Louis ahead of the Mets, and never so fast did he move St. Louis down when you told him, I want to move St. Louis down. He was like, yeah, that's right. Let's throw him there. And some people are joining late, and they can't believe, how is the big dog? How is Derrick Henry in the bottom? How is Pollard ahead of Barkley and Henry? This is all relative as far as these are your targets in best ball. Obviously,
it's based off my exposures in best ball.
Yeah, I know you didn't get much Barkley and Henry.
There's a lot of Derrick Henry love in the best ball tout streets. I would imagine.
See, Dean, this is why TJ's way is better than yours. People aren't
because it's confusing.
Yeah,
but the thing is, on the bottom, it's things you don't want. You don't want the fifth tier.
No, your way is so confusing for people.
Well, it's like they haven't been here watching.
It's another example of TJ being a better host than Dean. That's what it comes down to, pretty much.
You say another example. What's the other examples?
He gets the likes up. By the way, guys, hit that like button.
Well, he's got these Spidey bombs. So am I supposed to create a character too? Or hey, I guess he didn't create Spidey. That's Stan Lee. But yeah, I guess we gotta create a gimmick. There you go, Dean Dongs. There you go. We gotta get the Dean Dongs up for the people. But that's, again, phrasing. Did not work. That was not how that was supposed to go. We should move on from today. Bobby, did you see this screenshot?
That's not funny. That's not funny. The first one, Dean's Dongs, was funny. That's not funny.
Joking on me is hilarious, but when it goes to you, that's...
some people can give it and they can't take it. Maybe I'm one of those guys, Dean. Maybe I'm one of those guys.
Fair enough. Cleveland and Kansas City is an 8 total as well. Bybee and Singer, I believe. Now I got all flustered. I got all thrown off with my phrasing. Bobby, you're up. No, this is Tim, right? Tim, you're up, right? Cleveland and KC.
Yeah.
Set the board.
Yeah, outside of Bobby Witt, I have absolutely no interest in the Royals. So they can go and I'll put them in the Barkley tier. And then the Guardians, it's very rarely a team that I get to. I'm not going to be stacking them tonight in single entry. I wouldn't be getting them in 3 max. But they do have some decent pieces like Jimenez, Ramirez, Naylor. I think I really like that 3-man. So I'm going to put them in the Pollard tier.
Or being thrown some BBP on the screen here. I mean, Chop's not here, so somebody's got to pick up the BBP slack. Apparently, J-Ram is 12 for 25 with 3 homers. It's good at baseball. Any issues here, Bobby, with the placements of the Royals and Cleveland?
No issues. I think that the Witt, just Bobby Witt at 6,600, he's always in play. And then obviously Jimenez, Quan, Ramirez are always in play for Cleveland. So Pollard, that works.
Nobody's going to play Witt, right? Like, I don't think so.
No.
Curious to see the owners.
He's going to be like 3%.
It's the way I see it. Yeah. I mean, sure, if you're running 150, I don't mind him as an a la carte piece. I don't think you need the stack. He can get there on his own. But I understand why he's not going to be owned today. But for sure, absolutely, it's possible he's like the best hitter on the slate. Did get the Giants, Yastrzemski, Fitzgerald, Ramos, Conforto, Chapman, Wade, Bailey, Luciano, and McRae. And officially, we got the Arizona lineup. As expected, Walker is in it. He's back. Perdomo, Carroll, Bell, Walker cleaning up, Gorichik, Suarez, Del Castillo, Newman, and Barossa batting 9th for Arizona. So still getting most of the lineups. Most of the lineups kind of creeping on through. I guess we're still without no Seattle just yet. No Dodgers. And I think that's it, right? I think we got everything else as far as our lineups. Okay. Let's keep it moving. Bobby, you are up next here. Pittsburgh, Chicago. The total is 8. I thought it was a little bit lower than that. Might have jumped up earlier in the day. Let me refresh. Oh, no. Yeah, now it's 7.5, depending on where you're shopping, I suppose. We talked about the good weather, good pitching weather. Kyle Hendricks, maybe that'll save him against the Pirates. Paul Skeens on the other side. Love him. The only issue, of course, is maybe he gets pushed down as far as his pitch count. Pittsburgh is a favorite here, minus 120 here, Bobby. But 7.5 total. Neither team is a 4-team total individually. Where do we have the Pirates and the Cubbies?
So the Cubbies versus Skeens, they're going to go on Derrick Henry. I don't think that's a question. Good pitching weather for Skeens. EP makes sense. Pirates, I'm going to put in Saquon Barkley. Just really no love for the Pirates offense. Don't want to stack them too much. Yeah, that's pretty much where I have them. I guess they're going to be owned somewhat, so you could make a case for Tony Pollard, but I don't love the Pirates.
All right, Pirates. Let's see. In Barkley, Cubs hanging out with Henry. That's kind of where I'm at too. But Tim, do you have any? You want to sell us on the Pirates or the Cubs, or is that kind of where we're going to keep it?
That's right where I'd keep it.
Chad is shouting you out here. Moose is saying next MLB season you should have home run prediction expectation percentages. Tim nailed Trevor Larnach last night like it was nothing. Like it was nothing.
Yeah. Second at bat.
But wouldn't first at bat be like it was nothing?
Yeah.
If we're really
it still felt like nothing, Dean.
Just I'm not trying to besmirch, but
how many home run parlays do you have tonight, Dean?
None. I did one last night, and I had a 2-man, and Warnick was one, and the other one doubled, but no home. It's it's binary, right? Homer or nothing, homer or bust. Should I make one? Those are kind of fun. I've hit one before. I rarely do them though. I rarely do them. But and I get like boost sometimes, so just kind of a fun thing to do. This board is really weird. The way we have nothing in the middle, like definitively yes, definitively no, not definitively. You know what I mean? Just interesting where these teams are being placed. We still have 4 more games, and 10, 15 minutes till crunch time comes in. 15 minutes till crunch time comes in. So we'll probably have some time for questions. We usually don't get a lot of time for questions, but let's entertain some. New York and Texas. Tim, Rodone, Andrew Heaney, the Yankees. It feels kind of low, the Yankees total. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. Just 4.6 feels a little bit low. Aaron Judge is in that lineup. So is Soto. So is Stanton. Jazz left on left, sure. Torres is competent. The back end's a little bit rough. But I don't know. It feels like the Yankees total is a little bit low from my perception. But you tell me, Tim, where are we throwing the Yankees and the Rangers?
I'm going to put the Yankees right at the top. I think they're clear and obvious top stack. Maybe not as good as the Dodgers, but they're very close. I do agree with you, Dean. I thought this total would be closer to 5, if not over 5. So I do love the Yankees quite a bit. I don't know, like this Rangers lineup just seems off without Seager. Seems just kind of ugly at the bottom here. Makes me like Rodon even more for tournaments. So I guess this Rangers lineup has got to go somewhere between Pollard and Barkley. So I'd probably go Barkley for the Rangers.
Justin Foscue, 25-year-old Foscue, shown a little bit of power in the minors in the past. Want to see what he's projecting for as far as striking out in the majors. Pretty heavy contact guy. According to the bat, projected to strike out 18.6%. Not anybody imposing, but not like this easy strikeout either, just for what it's worth. I want to go to Bobby in a second, but I did want to entertain this question in chat. And shout out to Donut Man, who's asking a cash game question in month 6. Still grinding those cash games. Respect. Hey, Grinders, what is your general cash game stack configuration? And is he asking about stacks? Because that's not something. Give like the 30-second spiel, the minute spiel on cash game builds here, Tim.
Yeah, most of the time in baseball, you do not stack in cash games. So unless we get some kind of weird Coors slate or something like that.
Dean went 6 to midnight with that cash game question in September. Dean loves cash games.
I have not played cash games.
I play
months.
cash games.
It's Tim. Tim,
yeah.
That was the noise you heard was Tim. Tim was one getting excited about it. That was not me. I cannot vouch for that. I'll play some cash games when football season rolls around, and I'm sure Tim will also. But I mean, at this point, how has it been playing cash games right now, Tim? It's probably so tight, and everybody's playing the same lineups. Like whoever's left still playing cash. I'm guessing. You tell me otherwise. Isn't it like you're basically like 3v3, 2v2? Some of these lineups.
Yeah, I think that like this season I've done better than past years. I've been focusing on maybe like getting different at SP2. But really, I mean, I think cash games are a really good way to like build a bankroll, to be honest with you. So I like playing cash games.
It's funny. I was reading "Go F you guys" in chat saying it's where you lose your money, and I disagree. I think cash games is kind of where you're supposed to like build up, get yourself some bullets for tournaments. Tim, I know you don't want to. Not Tim, Bobby. I know you probably don't have any thoughts as far as cash games. That's not really your streets. But what is your thoughts as far as the Yankees in Texas? We have the Yankees all the way up in Devon Achin. We have Texas hanging out with Barkley. Do you have any qualms, or we're good?
This is going to be the 3rd time in a row, but I'm in agreement with Tim. Yankees and Achan and Texas and Barkley.
All right. Oh, Anya's asking cash games, what do they mean? So like 50-50 contests or head-to-head contests? I know they're all cash games if you want to get all technical, right? Like GPPs are cash games, like you win cash. But a cash game is essentially like a triple up if you're in like playing against 2 other people, or you're playing 100 people and like a 50-50. That's a cash game where you're basically looking to build a floor. Ceiling is, not necessary, right? You get the same amount of money if you finish first as opposed to you finish like 38th, assuming it's like 100 people in the contest. So you're just looking to beat more than half the field, essentially. All right. Bobby, this is yours. I guess no Dodgers lineup just yet, or maybe it's just dropped on us. Nope, still no Dodgers. Banging out some homers. I think it was yesterday. Was that Freeman hit a couple? I think that back to back. Maybe I'm combining a couple games. Dodgers, Angels, 9.5 is the total. Angels are heavy dogs here. Reed Detmers coming back from the minors. Started putting it together his last 3 starts in the minors. Again, 29 strikeouts his last 3 games, but not great overall numbers in the minors. And in the majors, not great either. And he's got to face the Dodgers tonight. By the way, reverse splitsy is important to say. Not that you're afraid to play Freddie Freeman. Not that you're afraid to play Ohtani. Who, by the way, 50-50, lock it up. It's happening, boys. He's stolen base hunting every single time he's on base. And the home runs are just inevitable. It's like Thanos. 50-50 for Ohtani. It's now, if mushes are real, if jinxes are real, this is the clip you got to cut if he doesn't quite get there. I'm not wishing that on him, of course. Rooting for Ohtani. But then maybe I'll become a believer like you, Bobby. Where do we have the Angels and the Dodgers on the board?
Dodgers and HN just makes a lot of sense. They're the Dodgers. And then from there, the Angels, I would put in Derrick Henry. I have no interest in the Angels. I know it's Walker Buehler, but like we talked about earlier, Anthony Rendon's going to be their cleanup hitter for the Angels tonight. And when that's the case, you have issues. So they're going in Derrick Henry.
Tim, what do you got? Also, we don't know the lineup just yet, but I'm just trying to think of salary savers and pinch hit stuff. And whenever the Dodgers start against a lefty, right? It's just they called up Pages. I think we had call-ups, right? September call-ups. So, roster's got a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit, not that I really want to play Chris Taylor, but like if he like completes my stack and I have no more money, maybe I'll play him. Same thing with Hernandez. Any thoughts on that, Tim, as far as potential pinch hit stuff with Detmers, the lefty starting? Presumably they'll jump to a righty. Next guy out of the pen.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an 18% risk, which isn't horrible. Like if he's batting, I'm assuming last, right?
That's the presumption. Taylor we're talking about, right?
Yeah, Taylor. Yeah. So he's going to be 11% owned. Like, I don't really like that ownership. That's like the real reason.
The other part of
it. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm more worried about the ownership than anything else with Chris Taylor. Same thing with Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman might be the most popular bat on the entire slate.
Isn't that wild? I think you're right, though, because he's just cheap. He's also a switch hitter. He probably sticks around the entire game. We're assuming Lux doesn't start.
Yeah.
He's another guy. He might come in and take Taylor's spot or Kike's spot. Again, Pages, I think. Pages is a righty, isn't he? Oh, Matt, we don't have Muncy starting. So if he doesn't start and if Lux doesn't start, I think the pinch hit stuff gets bumped up personally. Just kind of, we'll see what the lineup is, and no reason to speculate, but just kind of be a little bit more alarmed that those guys are hanging out on the bench. But the Dodgers are the best stack. I mean,
the Dodgers,
Yankees.
The Dodgers are the best stack on the entire night. But I am a little bit concerned about those value pieces ownership.
Tim, Ohtani 50-50. Is he getting it? Lock it up.
What's he at now?
It's like 45-45. It's happening.
Yeah, it's probably gonna happen.
I'll tell you what he is precisely, because he won't stop homering, and every time he gets on base, he's at 44 homers and 46 steals. Like, the steals are a lock. What do you think, Bobby? Are we getting 50-50 at a Shohei?
Did he bet it?
He probably not. He might have a middleman. He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. Yeah, I
mean, look, who am I to say? Speak on his finances, but a lot of his finances are backloaded, right, into the contract. But like, you think he's going to be like, well, I didn't bet on it, so I'm just going to do the triple. I don't want it over the fence instead of off the fence. Yeah.
What was the future line he got on it?
I don't know. I don't think you could get a future line for something.
No,
like
you
that,
couldn't get a future on that. Yeah.
I mean, you could bet it now, and I think it's actually like plus odds is him not getting it where it's at. I think the last I saw, it's
who do you think's getting his action now?
Hopefully not Chris Taylor. It could be rough times for him, but yeah. I think he's just enjoying playing baseball, Bobby. That's enough excitement for him for sure. And he's a future Hall of Famer. And that's that. Seattle takes on Oakland. We have no Seattle lineup, right? No Seattle, no Dodgers. I'm pretty sure those are the only two we do not have. Castillo taking on JT Ginn. Seattle's the pretty heavy favorite here, Bobby, minus 160. 8 total. We saw him come alive the other day, but at least it's a little bit of power. And we saw the double dong yesterday from Shea Langoliers. Both these catchers, big dumper, Kyle Rowley, banged one out. I know it's a tough ballpark, but Langoliers did it times two. This Oakland front four is pretty. It's usable, right? Butler, Rooker, Lette, Langoliers falls off after that. Where do you have the Athletics and the Mariners?
I'm gonna go Seattle and Bijan. I just think that's where I want them based on. Well, Cal Raleigh 4,500. There's just Randy Rosarena's there 4,500. J-Rod 5K. I think they're good price tags versus JT Ginn. And then for Oakland, I will go Saquon Barkley.
Do you think Shohei? I'm not making allegations, but like, should you be docked if you're actually like betting on yourself? Like, no, I don't.
If you're betting on yourself, you're fine.
They let Vince Vaughn bet on, his team in dodgeball. They had no issues. Spoiler alert.
They let
Here we go with dodgeball.
But that's how he won Globo Gym. Spoiler alert.
Boxers bet on themselves all the time, right?
Sylvester Stallone and Over the Top. You can go in the older movies. He bet on himself in the arm wrestling championship. I've not seen that movie in forever, but they let him get away with it. But yeah, what do we have, Tim, as far as the Mariners and the Athletics? Do we agree? Oakland and Barkley, the Mariners and Bijan.
I would bring Seattle down to Pollard, and I would leave the Athletics right in Barkley.
This is my first tie. You guys have been so like in simpatico, right?
No, we tied on Milwaukee, but you just skipped over it. So
I think I let producer Steve break the tie. I didn't want to fight over it. I kind of liked Milwaukee. Wherever they're at is where I like them. That's probably what it was.
All right. So that's
Did you have them lower or higher?
Lower.
No. I think I don't want to say it. I hesitate to say it, but I agree with Bob. I know Bobby likes to keep score. He likes to play the home version.
I went with Bobby for the Brewers, but I went with Tim for Seattle, and I just lowered them.
Oh, so it's officially 1-1 is the score. Okay. Let's see if we can break the tie. The rubber match here at the last game on the board. It's Arizona and it's San Francisco. It's Ryan Nelson, Kyle Harrison. 7.5 is the total. Terrible ballpark, obviously, for offense historically. Now their team is a 4-team total. We like Nelson a little bit as far as rostering as an SP2 tonight. I believe, Tim, are you setting the board? And, no pressure, but this is for the game, possibly.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Giants in Barkley. And then Diamondbacks in Pollard for me. I really like that Walker's back in this lineup. He's going to be so low owned tonight. I love him.
He's expensive.
I know. I love him for like MME settings.
People are not going to play him. I very much agree with it. I don't know if I'm going to get there either because they moved up Carroll left on left. Carroll had 11 homers last month, which he was an absolute disaster the first 4 months of the season, but he turned things around. You could argue they got healthier, I suppose.
I was going to say, I think he was hurt for a while, and now he's not.
How did he become unhurt, though? Like, wasn't he dealing with the shoulder that just didn't recover, and it just all of a sudden recovers to playing 4 months of baseball? It's just kind of weird. I don't know how that works. I think
sometimes things take time, Dean.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I have no clue, but good for him. Good for Arizona. All right, Bobby, this is for the game. Do we agree? Do we disagree? We have Arizona and Tony Pollard set by Tim, and San Fran's got Saquon Barkley.
I want to force it and move Arizona up just to see if I could get Dean to reach, but I'm going to keep it in Pollard, and San Fran's going to be in Barkley for me. So I'm going to side with Tim, and there's not going to be any drama.
Kissing your sister? That's what we're doing here? You're just taking the tie?
I just think that the tie is the best option.
All right. I think, if you moved something, you would have lost. You would have taken the
I know. Yeah, I knew I would have lost. Exactly. Because I know how you think. I know what you're about. You want the
know how it
efficiency.
bounds.
Yeah. You wanted me to move it. Yeah. 100% you wanted me to lose.
No, I have no. I'm impartial. Yeah.
No, you're not.
I call it right down
You're
the middle.
the least impartial guy I know.
Going right down the middle. Why would I lean in favor of Tim? Why would I favor Tim?
I don't know.
Or I just disfavor you.
You tell me. You tell me.
I have no favorites. Crunch time coming in here shortly. Let's go ahead and just read the board. Top of the board, Devin Achan. Atlanta, the Yankees, the Dodgers. Hanging out with Bijan Robinson is Milwaukee, Toronto, Philadelphia. Tony Pollard has Cleveland, Seattle, Arizona. Saquon Barkley is very popular. The Mets, St. Louis, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Texas, the A's, San Fran, all the way at the bottom, hanging out with Derrick Henry. It is Boston, Colorado, the Cubbies, and the Angels. Tim, we already got your tater. I don't know if you have any more, but Bobby, can you see?
I have one more. I have one more tater.
Will
Smith plus 450.
That's a pretty good one. I like that too. We're assuming he's going to crack that lineup. I don't know why he wouldn't. All right, so Will Smith. Who was the other one, Tim? Who was the one you liked? Bryce Harper, right? Around plus 400?
Yeah, Bryce Harper at plus 400.
Bobby, do we have any Bobby bombs for the people?
We will go. Let me decide here real quickly on the fly. We'll go Ozuna. Does that work?
Sure.
Definitely.
I feel like that's pretty chalky though. You know what? I'm gonna get off the board with this one and go Shohei Ohtani.
Oh,
off the board.
It's a bold proclamation.
Yeah.
Steve wants to know, why is Anaheim and Derrick Henry? Walker Buehler is absolutely washed. 8 ERA in the road. Well, have you seen? I'll see you're washed and raise you Anthony Rendon. That's the problem. It's washed versus washed. So I don't know what to do with that. But I think you're just supposed to put the Angels basically down in the gutter. Can
I give an actual long shot home run instead of Ohtani? Obviously, please. Not. That was more of a little bit thing I tried to do. That. Let's go Teoscar Hernandez.
Oh, I thought you. Tim, does that qualify as a long shot homer? I don't think it does.
No. Well, on that team.
You know what? What if I told you there was a player that his name is the same exact name as the team's nickname? What if I told you that? What if I told you we had
said it? You've already told us like 15 times on the show currently.
He's your new favorite player.
Hicklin, I cannot pick him out of a lineup.
By how red his face has just become, he's absolutely in love with Brewer Hicklin.
Brewer Hicklin in a second.
Brewer Hicklin is plus 500 to hit a home run.
Plus 500. That's the worst odds.
How you doing?
The word is out. For Brewer Hicklin. You got company, Bobby?
Yeah. You want to say hi to your friend Dean?
We got a child?
Yeah.
Oh,
want to get up here?
Let's seamlessly Oh, look at
that. No.
What is this child's name?
What's your name, bud? Nana? No, what's your name? You're touching the mic and picking your nose. Do you have any home run picks for us tonight?
Somebody more ambitious than Teoscar Hernandez, possibly?
Yeah. I'll put him down. Say hi to Dean, though. Remember, you love Dean. Say hi, Dean.
Yeah. Hello.
Nervous
child. Nana.
Yeah.
All right. Seamless transition. Let's go ahead and bring in crunch time right now. Dave wrote in chat, the kid's going full Rudy Gobert there with the microphone. Tap, tap, tap.
He's still here.
Yeah. And Dave also wrote, Dave's having a good time in the chat. He said, Bobby, you went way off the board with like 7 Fs. So you
made me so happy when he said, well, let me get not so chalky. Teoscar Hernandez. I'm all with you there. Those are good calls, though.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
Roth, happy Tuesday. Happy wife. We took the day off yesterday for that was the walk on the street because it's the wife's birthday. So
we're going out tonight doing a little omakase. Of course, you know what that is, right, Dean?
Is that the place that's right down the road from Dave's house?
No, it's when you go to sushi, but you don't order. You just sit down and the chef just does the things for you.
I don't want that. No. I want to choose. I'm out. No, I have a lot of issues. So yeah.
It's gonna be great.
You
By
like
the way, that kid is really cute, and I like what Go FU says. Mom must be beautiful. It's true. It didn't come from you. We know that.
I think Bobby's on mute right now. The child's having himself a good time over there. Yeah, there you go. Why, Kevin? You like that? You like to surprise me?
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, you trust the chef. He's gonna do a whole cuisine for you. It's gonna be magical. I'm looking forward to it.
Does he tell you what it is before you start eating it?
Yeah. It's not just like here's a mystery meat. Yeah.
You actually have a blindfold on the whole time.
Yeah.
Is it insulting to pass? I want to pass. Do I get 3 passes?
I don't think you get any passes. I think it's like 12 courses, and you eat them all.
I guess I'm not cultured enough. I'm out. I'm too difficult. I'm a terrible dinner guest. I can't. I'm not good for that. But Roth, weather's good tonight, right? We're all good as far as weather. We're in the clear.
Glorious, yeah. No issues whatsoever.
Tim and Bobby. It looks like Bobby's got his hands full. Tim, anything else before you step aside and make way for crunch time?
Nope, we're good.
We're good.
Check out the People Show. Will be back Sunday 9:30 in the morning, talking some football. Start of 3.5 hours of NFL Sunday. Of course, NFL content all throughout the week. That's why you subscribe. That's why you hit the like button. Also, don't forget to join the contest in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Live stream chat channel. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium if you bank it. Get yourself 2 weeks free of RG Premium if you happen to be doing so while rocking the RG avatar. Myself, Tim, Bobby, we do appreciate y'all watching the first portion. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're now going to seed to crunch time. You got TJ Zwarych, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, 2-time millionaire winner. And, of course, the greatest DFS, I was going to say weather band, but that's insulting. I would never do such a thing. It is Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. 2 of the sharpest minds in the industry here, hanging out with us all the way up until lock. Got 2 of the sharpest minds in the chat, by the way. Shout out to Steve and Alan, both of whom, very cultured, know that omakase is the way to go. TJ, you do a little omakase there in Saskatoon?
No, I don't like seafood, so sushi is a no for me.
Okay, you live in an area that has more lakes per capita than any other area in the entire world, and you don't like seafood.
Yeah, I know it's not ideal for that. It's like if I'm going out, I'm a better dinner guest than Dean. So like if I'm going somewhere to like somebody's cabin at the lake and they're frying up some fish, I'll eat it. It's just not my. I'll eat lake fish if it's the only option. It's just not like my first choice.
All right, as long as you'll eat a walleye, if it's properly prepared, that'll work. We got Dave Potts. Cheese is good in the house as well. What up, Cheese?
Not too much. Yeah, thrilled to see another good weather day. Because you're usually in a better mood, and
yeah,
that's good. We all appreciate that.
Good. Yeah, I'm pretty thrilled. The weather is like dead quiet, and just to be sure, I even like manually forecasted for it said 0% chance of rain everywhere. I still manually forecasted. It's true. There's a 0% chance of rain anywhere. John says I thought Omakase played for the Dodgers. It's kind of funny. Let's talk about this slate here. Not weather-wise, Cheese. Do you want to give me a rundown on what's going on?
Yeah. Essentially, we have some pretty obvious chalk on pitching and hitting sides. Like, it's not like heavy chalk because there's like just enough things, but like very clear. Pretty much everyone has the same top, like 3 or 4 offenses in the top group of pitchers. So it's very easy to get different if that's what you want to do. But there's also just enough things that I don't think any of them are so chalky that you can't play them. So, pitching wise, Chris Sale against the Rockies, total class of his own, tier of his own, worth spending for. I was going to update, like our ownership projections are low on him. He's going to be 50-60% owned. And like we're showing him and Castillo the same. That's Sale's going to get the ownership. Castillo will be, he'll probably be the second most popular, but Sale is going to be a lot more owned than 35%.
And you like that? You're about that chalk?
Yeah. I've got like he's expensive enough. I only have about 50%, 50 to 60. But like he's just clearly the best guy. I'm not playing any Paul Skeens. You can of course play Paul Skeens. I think if they keep giving him, 85 pitches, And at 85 pitches, he can be the second best pitcher, but you can't really get him and Sale, and I'm not playing him ahead of Sale at all. So I have none.
Oh.
Louis Castillo is totally fine, probably will be good. But again, like you can't really play him and Sale together in a lot of lineups, and Sale is way better. So I don't have a lot of Castillo. And then we have this huge mid-tier that a lot of the guys that I kind of like, I'm not playing, just salary-wise. Carlos Rodon, Tanner Bybee, David Peterson, Brady Singer, Kyle Harrison. I have zero of any of those guys. They're all fine. My favorite out of that group would be Bybee, but I just don't like them quite enough because on DK we have sizable-ish discount to Chris Bassett and Ryan Nelson. I'm super curious about the Ryan Nelson ownership. You'll see the complete rainbow with all the colored dots.
When I see that, Cheese, I take the ownership. I throw it out the damn window. What does it say? Like 15% or something? No, that dude's going to be like 40% owned.
Like basically, I think you can take some of the ownership we've got on Rodon and Bybee and give it to Nelson and shoot him up to 25. Shoot him up to about where Castillo's going to be. I'm playing him ahead of Bassett, but Bassett is too cheap as well. I kind of like the bats against him a little more. And then going even cheaper on DK mostly, I am playing Aaron Savali. There's some downside risk, but he's cheap and he throws strikes and has occasional upside, so he's my favorite cheap guy. On the FanDuel side, like I can't really make any case at all to go below 8,000. I mean, you could play Kyle Harrison, I guess, but the salary is just not that hard. And I would play a little more Castillo on FanDuel with his $1,600 discount from Sale. And then out of that mid-tier group, Nelson is more expensive there. He's still my favorite, but I'm playing a little more Bybee along with him on FanDuel.
Okay. So, Cheese, is the chalk just Sale Nelson? Is that what most people are doing, or at least what the cash flow is?
I honestly don't have a clue in the world what's going to happen with Nelson because so many people still build on projections, and projections aren't going to love him. That I don't want to call that chalk. No, I think Sale plus something is chalk, but I think it gets split up between Castillo, Nelson, Bassett, Bybee, and Savali.
Okay, and then you mentioned some of these higher end pitchers that you can't quite get to because you'd rather play Sale, like a Castillo, or I think who else? There was a couple others in there. Scott says, is it viable to go double cheap in DK?
Kind of depends what you mean by cheap. I have I have a lineup with like Nelson and Savali. If that counts as double cheap, which I think it does, yes.
Okay, very good. TJ, I want to bring you into the mix here. What are you doing pitcher-wise? Can you just fade Sale? Can you just be like, I'm not doing it? He's going to get blown up, and you're going to have this massive edge on the whole field?
I mean, he's not going to get blown up, but he's facing Colorado outside of Coors Field, and so he's not going to get blown up. It's good chalk. But I do think just because he's the most expensive pitcher by $1,000, like you can absolutely play lineups without him. I wouldn't full fade him today, running a ton of lineups. He absolutely is the cash pitcher today. But I think the entire pool, I was at Cheese. I was kind of looking at this and I was like, all right, David Peterson, I like him. Harrison's fine. Bybee, Rodon is okay. Bassett, he's cheap, but I don't like the matchup. All these guys I'd consider. But then as I really dive into it, there'd only be 5 pitchers I think I would consider worth playing today, and that would be Sale, Skeens, Castillo, Nelson, and then Savali, who I don't even want to play, but he's just in a price range of his own. Is like the only guy down there I would want to play. So I think that those 5 would be, whether I'm playing, 1 lineup, 3 lineups, or 150, the only ones I'd be considering today.
Interesting. And then over on FanDuel, do you have any strong takes? Like Thomas in the chat says, I like Payne, so I'm going to play JT Ginn or Jin on FanDuel. I have no idea who the hell that is, but he must not be very good.
Yeah, that's too much pain for me. I like recouping my entry fees when I'm playing, but I like no big takes. Like if I was playing 3 lineups on FanDuel, we'll probably go Sales, Skeens, and Nelson.
Okay, very good. So you're higher on Skeens than Cheeses. You're not as scared away by the potentially low pitch count there.
No, but I'm also a sucker for a really good young pitcher.
Yeah, understandably. Okay. Let's flip it over. Let's talk about some of the bats and some of the stacks. TJ, what do we like there?
So top kind of options on the board today, we have Atlanta and the Dodgers as the 2 offenses that people are going to be kind of gravitating towards. It is tougher to get to them though with a lot of the expensive pitching that we have today. Having said that, I would still want to get there as much as I can. That's why I think Savali and Nelson are such strong options on the slate. In terms of ways to kind of get cheap though and be able to afford those really expensive bats, I love Toronto. It's super low ownership. I think they've been red hot lately, and I think they're in a very interesting spot, and they're not picking up much ownership at all. People like to say I'm a homer sometimes, but I'll say no, don't play the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are trash today. And today's a day that I actually think the Blue Jays are in a really nice spot. Cleveland, I think, is somewhat interesting going up against Singer today. Milwaukee is in a spot that I like a decent amount going up against Steven Matz. I'm looking for teams that I see with a decent amount of upside that I don't have to break the bank for, because I want to try and have a couple of double barrel lineups paying up for pitcher. So another team that, again, is kind of in that boat for me, even though they're terrible and I don't like playing them, is the Angels, because the Angels are going up against Walker Buehler, and he's been absolutely terrible as well. And so he's somebody that I'm pretty interested, or there's somebody that I'm pretty interested in. And then I might even take some shots on Oakland going up against Castillo as well.
Okay. Cheese, what are you doing stack wise?
So the very obvious top tier: Braves, Dodgers, Yankees. And like TJ said, that's going to lead to, that's the reason why Sale is only 50% owned instead of 90, so that people can play Dodgers, Yankees, Braves stacks. I agree with Blue Jays and Brewers as cheaper stacks. The Brewers are my preferred one. I think the Brewers are going to be more popular than we're showing. But I do like them a lot. And then it's just kind of random nonsense after that, like mostly mini stacks. But I will say I really do like the Phillies against Bassett. They're my number 5 stack.
Okay. Very good. Guys, let's go around the horn. We'll talk position by position. Cheese, lead us off with a little catcher talk.
Catcher's pretty great. A lot of positions are pretty great. There's a few that aren't, but Will Smith, Cal Raleigh, the Brewer, Contreras are great spend-ups. I like Smith the best, and I do not need to play him in Dodger stacks. And by the way, we don't have a Dodgers lineup yet. If that comes in, somebody pop that in the chat.
I think
there's also
this month, the Dodgers lineup. Maybe he just left a question mark. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Otani,
okay.
Mets, Freeman, Hernandez, Smith, Edman, Muncy, Rojas, and Taylor.
Cool. Just make sure Smith was in there, and was curious about Muncy. I got to go back and put some Muncy in things. But anyhow, back to catcher. Outside of those 3 expensive guys, the mid-tier is good also. Sean Murphy, Gary Sanchez, Logan O'Hoppe, I like a lot. So with all those names, I really don't like punting catcher outside of stacks.
Okay. TJ, your thoughts at the catcher spot?
Yeah, very similar spots for me today. If I can pay up for Will Smith, I'd absolutely love to, but Gary Sanchez is probably going to be my top option just based on him being only 3,500 and easy to get to. Same with Sean Murphy, all the way up in the lineup, batting 5th today. It's really tough to pass up those 2 options today, even though they are going to be picking up ownership. I think the slate is big enough that the ownership's not so high that I'm all that worried about it. Logan O'Hoppe at 3,800, I really like going up against Walker Buehler. And outside of those 3, it's mostly just going to be only in stack spots for me. And then I like Cal Raleigh too for spending up.
I was waiting for that. Thank you. All right, first base. What are we doing there?
Ohtani, if you can get there, great, but he's 7K and it's not very easy to do. He does absolutely crush in lefties just like lefty righties, but the fact that he's 7K and projecting to be the highest owned first baseman today in a lefty matchup has me feeling like if there's ever a day to get off of Ohtani, today is probably the day. There are some really cheap options that I think are fine with Kyle Manzardo and Ezekiel Duran. Manzardo would probably be my preference there. I really like Josh Naylor in the mid-tier, Rowdy Tellez as a salary saving option, and then Goldschmidt at 3,600, batting near the bottom of the lineup, but I still think he's in a good spot. And Matt Olson in the lefty matchup. We love Atlanta today, but I don't think many people are going to play Olson. And then finally, Seth Brown down low at 2,900, and the first Spidey bomb of the day at plus 460, Vlad Guerrero. Absolutely love him today. Facing a reverse splitsy pitcher with a righty going up against them. Nobody's playing Vlad. Plus 460, Spidey bomb number 1.
Very good. The people want to know what can they do to get more Spidey bombs. TJ, let them know.
Let's see. How many likes are we at today? We're at 143. I got another one for the people as soon as we're at 150. And then I got 2 more as soon as we hit 200.
Very good. The people pointing out we've got Ohtani revenge narrative. So he is going to be chalky simply based on revenge narrative, which maybe is a good reason to fade him. Cheese, is his ownership inflated because of the revenge narrative?
It better not be like what. I don't understand what anyone in the world is talking about.
It will
if
be.
there's a sport
like
that
he's
I don't
mad.
care
Like revenge implies
all.
anger. He loves the Angels because he's not there. Like he's not vengeful. Like what is happening? Anyhow, he is Shohei Ohtani though. He's popular because he is Shohei Ohtani. I like Freddie Freeman a ton. And I also like, I like pretty much everyone TJ said. Adding Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins, I think, is my highest owned first baseman. But it's a very good position. I've even got a Justin Foscue on DK, minimum salary guy with some power. It's a loaded position, and I love it.
Okay, was that a fescue? Fescue?
Foscue.
Is a fescue a grass?
That sounds probably.
Yeah, fescue is like long. They call fescue like long grass in golf. It's
Yeah,
like
all right.
hit the ball into the fescue.
Yeah, all right. From now on, that dude is fescue in my mind. Okay, Cheese, what are we doing at second base?
So let me do FanDuel first. It's a totally different position on FanDuel because you got Betts, you got Tommy Edman, and you got Jazz Chisholm added in alongside the guys I'm going to mention on DK. So on FanDuel, you're playing a Dodger at second, probably, unless you're playing Torres. On DK, we don't have much at all. And Gleyber Torres is the chalk. And then I really like Bryson Stott. Those two are the bulk of my lineups. I think this is a place you can punt with one of those cheap Blue Jays that TJ was talking about. Will Wagner for 3K is fine. Polanco is also fine down there. But really, Stott and Torres is kind of it for me on DK.
Okay. TJ, I want your thoughts at second, and I will add, I got a sneak peek of your Spidey bombs, and you've got a spicy one coming up at 150 likes. Spicy.
Yeah, plus 1,400. Didn't really, I was kind of going crazy when I saw those odds. I didn't believe they were real. So the second Spidey bomb at plus 1,400 today. Will Brennan batting 5th for Cleveland. We want to take lefties against Singer. He's up there batting 5th today. Plus 1,400. You kidding me?
It's crazy.
So I was looking at that thinking like anything like plus 650, 700 I would like for Will Brennan today. And then I saw that and I was shocked. Will Wagner, speaking of the Wills, at second is my favorite, only 3K and my favorite second baseman today. Bryson Stott would be my second favorite. Torres is great, but probably going to be quite chalky today. And Andres Jimenez is another one I like as well. Speaking of lefties against Singer. Other than that, it's really just guys and stacks.
Okay. Third base, TJ.
Third base today, switching over in my lineup HQ. Josh Jung batting third against Carlos Rodon is somebody that I'm pretty interested in as a one-off. Nice and cheap there today. Jose Ramirez as a spend-up option, as a lower-owned spend-up option today, I think is really interesting, as is Jazz Chisholm in the lefty-lefty matchup. I think is probably going to keep ownership down, but batting 5th today in the Yankees lineup, he's somebody that I'm very interested in. Devers in the lefty-lefty, nobody is going to be playing today. It's weird. We have a lot of good names, but it's not like anybody that really jumps out as like, this is a must play at third today.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at the old third base spot?
Yeah, it's really pretty weak. So I want to point out on FanDuel, you can play Vlad at third. So he and Ramirez are kind of tier of their own on FanDuel. On the DK side, like Ramirez is expensive, but he's the only play I actually like. Like everything else I'm playing just because you're legally required to play a third baseman. I think Josh Young is probably the most popular play, which is weird, but it's just like the price is just right. And then like the cheap stuff is pretty nonsensical. So I am playing bad hitters in my stacks just to round it out, like Gio Urshela. I've got Edmundo Sosa. I think you can play Barger. Reminded me of that Dodgers lineup, Taylor, I guess, but I would have preferred Kiki Hernandez. So basically Ramirez, maybe Young, and then I don't care.
Okay, fair enough. Shortstop. We care about shortstop, Cheese.
Yeah,
Less than usual, though.
Less than usual.
it's another one of those days. All the good shortstops are in tougher-ish matchups, and still expensive. I mean, I love like the ownership on Bobby Witt is inspirational and amazing. There is nobody that he can't hit. So like, but nobody's going to play him because you can play Judge or Ohtani, and he's basically the same price and facing Bibee. So I do love Bobby Witt, but he's not like technically a great play at that salary.
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz, even in not great hitting weather, should beat Kyle Hendricks, but he's expensive. Lindor is very expensive and also not great hitting weather. Trey Turner, I don't like the righties so much as the lefties. Like it's all just kind of, yeah, it's fine. So I think Tommy Edman is the DK play, which is weird, except for some reason he dropped out of my where's Willy Adames? Okay, I forgot. Willy Adames is so far down in the projections, which is weird. And that's another one I don't really believe the low ownership. I think Adames is up along with O'Neal Cruz as the chalk at the position. Because he's cheaper than those other guys. Like I would play Adames ahead of Lindor, Trey Turner, O'Neal Cruz, and really even over Witt in most lineups. Like he probably just hits another home run. He's hit like 47 in a row. But I think Edman picks up like more ownership than all these guys because of the salaries and the Dodgers factor. So like I would play Edman in cash maybe, or in Dodger stacks, but definitely give me Adames or Witt ahead of him if I can.
Okay. Can you catch me up on the Cruz battle? Who is better, O'Neal Cruz or Elly De La Cruz?
Elly De La.
Is it close? Because O'Neal Cruz is priced at 5. I was like, oh, I thought that guy kind of.
Yeah. Oh, he's good too.
Yeah.
Like in real life, it's more arguable. They're both really good. Like but Elly does more. He's still more dynamic with more speed.
Yeah.
They both have the power. I wonder if
they're
O'Neal Cruz
almost
played
the
in
same.
Cincinnati.
I was going to say
might be
they're
different.
almost the same guy, except Elly De La Cruz is like the fastest player in the league. They're almost the same hitter, but then Elly De La Cruz is the fastest player in the league.
And
that ballpark factor is always going to give another boost to Elly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like these guys are going to be great DFS plays for a decade.
Very nice. Okay, good to know. All right, I think we're TJ to you. A short.
Yeah, the only guys that really stand out to me for their prices are Edman, Adames, and O'Neal Cruz. Adames would be my favorite ones. Like Cheese said, he's homered in 5 straight games right now, and we love. He plays at a shortstop position that isn't as good as it usually is today, and we love the Brewers. So Adames is my favorite option by a pretty decent margin today. And then if I'm not playing one of those 3, like if I land on Ernie Clement in my Blue Jays stacks, I'm not going to be upset, But outside of those 3, I think Lindor and Bobby Witt are really the only other guys I'd be targeting on this slate.
That brings us to the outfield, I do believe. TJ, what do you like there?
Any of the Dodgers are fine. All of them are rating out really well. Mookie Betts is probably my favorite Dodger today. he's just keeps sliding under the radar, not going all that highly owned. We're projecting him for 12% today, which isn't high, but I would almost bet that he comes in lowest of all the high-end Dodgers today, with Hernandez and Ohtani going in above him, because no one really seems to be wanting to roll with Betts since he gets back, because he's not quite as good as Ohtani. But this is still a top 3 to 5 hitter in all of baseball. So Betts is somebody that I want to get to as much as possible. You got Brewer Hicklin in your Brewer stacks, or alone at flat 2K, going up against Steven Matz, batting 6th if you need a cheap option. Blake Perkins is probably my favorite cheapie on the entire slate. Another Milwaukee batter, batting 2nd today. The more we go through it, the more it just kind of confirms that Milwaukee is my favorite stack today, with Toronto just kind of right behind them. It was maybe the other way around at the beginning, but I'm more on Cheese's side now, where Milwaukee's a bit above, just because this lineup and the way their positionality goes, with Adames at shortstop and Sanchez at catcher, they kind of host one of my favorite plays at basically every position. Soler, very interesting in a Atlanta stack or as part of a one-off. Mickey Moniak is another cheapie I really like today. Ramon Laureano's got the rainbow. And then Will Brennan, Spidey Bomb, 3K flat at batting 5th today for Cleveland. I really like those Cleveland lefties going up against Singer.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts in the outfield?
Yeah, before I name the outfielders, let me just kind of loop back on what TJ just said, which is what I said at the beginning. Like, I really think the Brewers are chalk. Like, we're not showing high ownership, but like the more you put lineups together, it's just, they just fit. Mm-hmm. And like, I really think these cheap Brewers outfielders, along with Adames and Hoskins and a catcher, are just very chalky. But it's good chalk. So at the high end, I'm playing more Dodgers than Yankees. I think the field will be slightly Dodgers over Yankees, but it's close. I can't play just a ton of all of them at those prices, so I have more Dodgers. I love Kyle Schwarber and Ozuna. Ozuna shouldn't qualify as even remotely sneaky, but he kind of does, just because of the Dodgers and Yankees. TJ mentioned Soler and Laureano along with the cheap Brewers. I like all those guys. I like Brandon Marsh in the mid-tier. I think that's all I want to mention specifically.
Okay, those are some good ones to mention. I want you guys to ponder some home run calls, maybe something not quite as chalky as Shohei Ohtani. Bobby.
Not as chalky as Will Brennan. Like, can we try to do something interesting here?
Yeah, give it some thoughts here. And hey, by the way, if you were watching, get ahead of the competition. RG Premium, NFL Premium is now available, and there's NFL content going up. It's happening right now. It's fantastic. Non-premium users can get over $100 off their NFL Premium subscription. All you have to do is click through the banner on RotoGrinders.com. You can also get yourself a 6-month combo sub, exclusive price $469.99, which saves you $250 as opposed to doing it month by month. If you want 1 month of RG Combo Premium, it is $120, and a 3-day pass is $19.99. That is the best deal in the biz. If you haven't ever signed up for RotoGrinders Premium, sign up for the 3-day pass, $19.99, and then we'll hook you. We'll hook you in, and you'll start signing up for the monthly pass without a doubt. With that out of the way, let's do some bomb calls. Cheese, I'm going to let you lead us off.
All right. I have a sneak peek at the Spidey Bomb, so I'm not going to say one, but one of those would have been mine. I'm going all cheap. I can give you a bunch of expensive homer. I'm going to give you 3 cheap ones. Okay. We're going to go with Justin Foscue, Ramon Laureano, and Brewer Hicklin.
Okay. Cut that part of the show right there, because all 3 of those guys are going yard. We're going to play that all over.
And since we just got this note in the chat, I want to double down on this. Like, Hicklin is almost certain to get pinch hit for. Like, this is not a guy who's going to be in the whole game. I would be stunned if he plays the whole game, but he's minimum salary, and he's good, so that's fine for me. But don't be surprised when he comes out after a couple of bats.
Okay, that's a good note.
I'll
TJ?
give one more Spidey Bomb right now since we're at 175, but I do need to get up to 200 likes before we give the final one. And like Dave said, it's a nice cheapie for you today. You throw in Will Brennan as well as Dave's cheap picks today, whether you're betting or playing DFS. That's a lot of home runs for some pretty good prices. So we got Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Will Brennan already on the board. My third one is Josh Naylor. You can find him for plus 650. Like I mentioned, lefties against Singer today I like. And the final one we got if we get up to 200 likes.
Okay. Good stuff, guys. Let's see if we can knock out some of these QQs. I'm starting in the RotoGrinders Discord, which, by the way, now is a fantastic time to join that as well. You can hang out. We'll talk some NFL shop with you, talk baseball, whatever sport you're interested in. We've got a channel for it. We also have a live stream channel, which is where I'm pulling the questions from now. TJ Longhorn says, DKGPP, Sale Freeman, or Castillo Otani?
Sale Freeman.
Cheese coming to you from Jay. High dollar, FanDuel, single entry, Sale with a Cleveland stack, or Nelson with an Oakland stack?
Sale Cleveland. That's weird that's even your option. Like that's a wildly no-brainer.
That one by a lot.
Both sides of that are better on one side than on the other side.
By a lot. Yeah, it's really strange.
Okay. Chinatown says, Cheese, I need you to make odds on Sale hits the Major League Baseball record versus Colorado with 20 strikeouts or more. It is for a bet. So these have to be absurd odds, I assume, but someone might actually lose this and have to pay it.
Yeah, I mean, I would go 1 in 1,000.
1 in 1,000.
I even say 100 to 1.
100 to 1. Yeah. Okay. We'll split the middle. 500 to 1.
500 to 1.
Yeah, 500 to 1. It's not technically splitting the middle, but it's close enough.
I said 1 to 1,000. You know what I meant.
Yeah. Let's see here. TJ, FanDuel single entry Olsen, or my boy, the big dumper Call Raleigh. Raleigh.
I'd probably go Raleigh.
Yeah.
Call Raleigh.
The rural juror. TJ, Bassett or Peterson? Straight up.
Peterson.
Cheese, FanDuel GPP from Carolina guy. This is a small field favorite stack.
Brewers.
Love this from Crazy Coop. Not a question, just a quick statement. As we close MLB DFS with NFL starting, by the way, you don't have to stop playing. There's still a whole other month.
What?
yeah. Cheese is shell shocked. You can keep playing MLB DFS. Some people will. Only like Cheese though. You're so
there are jabronis everywhere. It'll be me just competing with 2 other people for a.
Just the people who are really, really good at it, and then the ones who won money on NFL and just have a bunch of extra money on their accounts and are really bad at it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Free money, right after NFL. Don't you get like free money Monday or something? Cheese, is that a thing?
That was 15 years ago. But yes, it was free money Tuesday.
Yeah, free money Tuesday. All right. Okay. Anyways, the statement as we close MLB DFS with NFL starting. Thank you to all 3 of you. And to anyone else who has contributed to MLB Crunch Time this season, we appreciate you. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know it can be a little bit of a grind. It's 6 months, 6 months of this nightly, but hopefully we can inform and entertain. That's always the goal. Let's see. Cheese, could you muse on the Skeens Castillo neither decision for SP2 and cash? AKA, if you were playing cash, your SP2 would be. It's that cheap guy that I said.
So
Nelson.
I think Castillo is fine, but Nelson would be mine.
Okay.
Nelson would be mine too.
Yeah. All right.
And I'd probably I like Skeens more than Castillo today. It's only an 800 difference between the 2 of them. I like Skeens significantly more than Castillo, but it would still be Nelson is my preferred SP2.
Yeah. Let me say, Skeens is like, it seems weird with the skill sets, but Skeens is actually a little better of a cash play. Like, he doesn't have the ceiling because of the pitch count, but he still has a very good floor. With that skill set.
Okay. TJ, we got a question from JT who says, "Hey, I got here late. 3 different lineups, 3 different FanDuel pitchers, and a GPP." You actually did answer this question earlier in the show, but he was not here, so go for it.
Skeens, Nelson, Sale.
There you have it. He says also, are there any weather concerns? There are not. Some good news. Rangers fan says, with MLB DFS coming to a close, again, it doesn't have to be, can RotoGrinders get Cheese on an NHL crunch time?
I'm available.
Yeah.
We'll
yes.
see what happens.
Do we?
Me, Tim, and Cheese.
NHL crunch times?
We don't. We usually don't. We did one last year.
There were a couple of like early day shows when on the big, huge Tuesday slates, but it was pretty rare.
Yeah.
But I think we should.
Yeah.
Tell Steve to get out of chat with his nonsense.
Get out of here, Steve, with your nonsense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cheese, can Heaney avoid getting chunnel caked tonight?
I kind of think he can. I mean, obviously, it's the Yankees. They might score 400 runs, but like, he is a good pitcher. So I give him a shot at it.
Okay. Favorite teams, TJ. Peter says, Roth, are there any ceremony delay concerns tonight?
I love when people tilt over that
response.
And it's, you know what? It's the same guy. It's the same people over and over again. And I'm so damn patient with them. I just am so nice to them. And I'm so patient for like years. My history with this guy goes back like 10 years of him just like asking me every question and me being so patient. And then there's a delay in the Tampa Bay game for the freaking Crime Dog Hall of Fame introduction. And he just bitches at me for not calling the rain delay. It was obviously no rain because it's in freaking Tampa Bay and they're in a dome. Oh God. And I still didn't block him because I am a kind soul. But
you and I do Twitter very differently because I never get into any arguments on there at all.
Yeah.
But you say like, oh, you're talking crap about a movie I like, block. You don't like this type of food, block. Yeah. Like I don't want you on my feed then. Like it's nothing personal. I'm just protecting my own mental health in my own feed.
I have gone through that phase and it's good to like clean up all the junk into it. It just makes you feel a little better. You'd be pretty liberal with that block button. It feels pretty good.
Or especially the mute. Then people just scream into the void.
Yeah, I'm quick on the mute button.
Here's my question with the mute. Like, let's say someone constantly rags on me and it's like, Rock, you're an idiot, you're a dumbass, and I mute them. If I tweet something like a forecast and the same person says, Rock, you're an idiot, you're a dumbass, does everyone who sees my tweet see that response still? Because if so, I don't want it existing. I don't want their negativity impacting my shit. And I don't know if
to block them. I actually don't know the answer to that either. I think other people can see it.
Other people would still see them.
Yeah. See, then I don't want to mute them. I want to block you. I don't want to give you the opportunity to try to bring me down with your nonsense. Marty Don Yeezy says, I bet TJ has me muted. We can check. It's decently likely.
I don't think I do.
My block list now is like 500 people because the bots. It used to be, you had to earn it.
The thing is too is like, I don't even, if somebody has me muted and they still like follow me, I don't even feel like that is like disrespectful just because I have the Agents of Fandom people and I have the RotoGrinders people following me. And so it doesn't always cross over. You know, I do a show every second day and I'm always tweeting about it. And then I write an article every second day and I'm always tweeting about that. So if my audience doesn't cross over, I assume I'm annoying for the one side.
Right. At some point, but we love you enough that we deal with it. And I actually enjoy both sides of your work. Dean says, side note, how is Fred McGriff in the Rays Hall of Fame? He played there for maybe 4 years. I guess they don't have that many people to choose from. Take it easy on my Rays, man. How long do we know how long he played there for?
I would have to look.
All right. You want to look it up for us, Cheese?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll look it up. In the meantime, I'll take another question. I guess Longo Dongo's got to be in there. Quentin McCracken. Maybe I just liked his name. I don't know if he was good.
Yeah, Dean was almost being generous with 4 years. Like it was 3 full seasons and a part. I mean, it adds up to about 4. Yeah, but yeah, like
you should.
That is pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
Am I reading this correct? That the Rays have a dog, a broadcaster, and 4 players in their Hall of Fame, and that's the total?
Stop it.
Prime dog, a broadcaster, and 4 players. Is that what I'm understanding?
Oh, I thought it was an actual like bat dog or something that they would have done.
No, I thought like they have this Crime Dog Hall of Fame ceremony. Is he in their Hall of Fame? I don't know the story behind this.
Crime Dog.
Oh, that's a player's nickname.
Fred McGriff.
I thought this was like a mascot that they had that they were really fond
that
of.
Would
like
actually make more sense.
A literal police dog that saved a baseball player from a burning fire. And so they were inducting him into the Hall of Fame. Like that's what I thought was going on.
No. Understandable, but no, he's an actual person.
And even when you said Fred McGriff, I still didn't know if that was a person or a real dog.
Yeah. Well, I think there was like a cartoon, something McGriff. I don't remember what it was, but he was the crime dog.
McGruff.
McGruff. Yeah, there you go.
But it's pretty wild. I mean, he retired 20 years ago. I mean, TJ was a baby when Fred McGriff retired. Like, it's been a while.
Yeah, that's true. We forget TJ is like in his 20s, which is
30. I'm 31. 31.
30. All right. He's almost in his 20s. Someone said, is TJ capping? No, he's young. He's just young.
I genuinely didn't know who that was.
So McGriff joined Wade Boggs, Carl Crawford, and Don Zimmer. That's pretty sad. No Longoria? Longo will make
he
it.
Should get in there next. I would have thought like Crawford and Longoria are the only two I could think of that like feel like
Kiermaier might be there one day.
No, he was never
My
good.
guy.
He was never good. Yeah, he was a fan favorite, but he was never actually good. Okay,
that was like Kevin Pillar. He was a fan favorite center field because he made some nice catches, but he was never actually good.
Right.
Oh yeah, David Price. That's a good one. All right, carry on.
Oh, yeah. Price is a good one. There you go. Yeah. Also, James Shields was actually good for us for a long time. I don't know if he was quite good enough, but he was an ace for us for a while. Let's see.
Class now.
Yeah.
McClanahan.
So many good pitchers that just aren't there long enough. FanDuel GPP, TJ, is Oakland stack decent enough?
Not really, but if you're playing a lot of lineups, I would have some Oakland stacks. But if I was playing 3 or even 10, I wouldn't be considering them.
Okay. Ben Zobrist, which borderline, he got good like tail end of his Tampa career. Yeah. Matt Garza. The answer is no on Matt Garza, but yeah. I have a Matt Garza story. He threatened to I think punch me in the face or break a bottle over my head. He threatened me physically. Yeah, we were at a bar and there was some sort of championship parade going on, and he was drinking Coronas and he had a bucket of them, and I happened to be drinking my own Corona, and he thought that I took a Corona from his bucket, and he threatened me physically for taking his beer. I didn't, to be clear. He was also fairly intimidating. He has like a big hook nose and he was all in my face. Scary looking dude. You don't want him threatening to punch you in the face. Okay, where are we? Oh, Casimir is a good one too. Okay, sorry, we got to get to the questions.
Carlos Pena,
DK Cash. Oh, Carlos Pena. These are good ones. We do have guys that are worthy. Carlos Pena should be in there. DK Cash, Cheese, Stott or Jimenez?
I mean, Jimenez is probably the better answer. I prefer Stott. I'm playing more Stott, but like for Cash, I think Jimenez is probably the better answer.
Yeah. There's Bossman Jr., BJ Upton. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. Hall of Fame should be a very high bar though. What else do we got? DKGPP, Cheese, Olsen, Taylor, Loperfido, or Horowitz, Barger, and Laureano. The second one would complete a 5-3.
I like the second one anyway.
Very good. Okay. TJ, let's get you some QQs here. We've got about 2 minutes until lock. DKGPP, Betts and Perkins or Judge and Hicklin?
But Betts and Perkins.
Okay. See if we've got any questions or just a bunch of thoughts here on Hall of Fame, which mostly that's all we have. Kwan versus Jung or Young straight up from Cleveland Picker, TJ.
I would go Kwan there, and we also just reached 200 likes, so that means we got the final Spidey Bum plus 500 Mickey Moniak. So that brings our total to 4. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Will Brennan, Josh Naylor, Mickey Moniak, the 4 Spidey Bums today.
And Cheese, was Moniak the guy who you were going to drop as one of your cheap
names? That was going to be another one of the cheap names I was going to have in there.
Yep. All right. TJ, Jimenez or Torres, FanDuel Cash?
Torres.
Ron says, Cheese, your thoughts on Sheeman or Taylor? Sheeman? Is that a person? Sheeman?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. No one would have that name, Sheeman. Let's see. Schneeman.
Daniel Schneeman. I mean, only in a full Cleveland stack. I mean, he's fine in a Cleveland stack, but other than that, he's not on my board.
Okay. Less than a minute until lock. What else do we have here? Oh, we're doing pretty good, actually. Dean says, pretty sure BJ Upton is in the Hall of Terrible Contracts. Who overpaid BJ Upton? Was it the Rays? I don't know. I need to figure this out. Dean, let us know. He looked so good when he would be hot. He was stealing bases and just mashing home runs. And then for like 2 months, he would go to the plate and just look awful. Just look a lot.
I mean, really, he's Ellie De La Cruz, like he was. He had that talent. He could never put it together. Hopefully, Ellie puts it together more than that. But it was like if he accidentally hit the ball, it was going to be something great.
It was incredible when he would get locked in. Like one playoff run, I think he set the record for most home runs in a playoff run. He was just mashing, and then sometimes you'd be like, "Good Lord, this guy sucks. Get him out of the lineup." Hey, guess what? We hit lock. That was more baseball than I've ever talked in my entire life. That was the most talking of baseball I've ever done. Maybe more today than cumulative through the entirety of my whole life.
It was very exciting. I was honored to be here.
I enjoyed it.
BJ Upton, that's who I was thinking of, I think.
Yep. Atlanta signed Bossman Jr. to a 5-year, $72 million contract in 2013. That's not good. And yes, BJ, it does not stand for like Brandon Jacobs. His dad was the boss man, and that's what they called him. And he was the boss man Jr., which is why he got the nickname BJ, Boss Man Jr. Not his actual name. His actual name is like Melvin. There you go. That's my random tidbit for you.
And he went by Melvin for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that. He did a good job changing that. It's not a very cool thing to go by, Melvin. Hey, okay. With that, I think we can bounce on out of here. For TJ, for Cheese, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys. We appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been